Peace, Sheba.
Attack.
Yeah, tell them who you are and where you come from. We'll get started.
Raobat. Wu Hetep. Ashuk Wu Nuwa. Nefa Atun Reye. Grand Rising Goddess and Gods. I'm from Sirius, but I landed in Oakland, California. Now I'm over here in Atlantis, New Kemet, Tamaray, Georgia. And I look forward to knocking out this Tomorrow War and Captain State. And we're gonna talk about Raka. That's a great surprise bonus. I'm looking forward to that.
No doubt, no doubt. Peace, Seabot Joy. I don't know if she's able to hear us.
Peace to the Ramesh. Peace to everyone.
Hey, Raobat. Greetings.
Peace, Mentat. Ashuk Wu Noir. Ashuk Wu Noir.
Tour, yes.
Everyone, I appreciate my guest here today. I appreciate Ramutef manning the studio for me. I'm a little unable to right now. I'm traveling, as some of you may know. I'm getting together a documentary for you all. So I'll be in and out, and I appreciate you all and your patience during this process. And we're going to continue with the show. Gratitude.
Gratitude. All right. Where you want to start off? Tekh, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah, go right ahead and start off.
Okay, so listen. Yesterday I did a series of videos on my Instagram. Go check it out. ___ dot ra ___. Okay, and we talked about Tomorrow War in my story timeline and why that movie. You gotta go check that out. Number one, first of all, it's great. It's a good movie. Okay, we all love good movies. Stop playing. I don't care how conscious you are. You still like a good movie. Okay, but now that we're watching these movies with a papatar, we say papatar. Papatar means your divine eye, known as third eye, in this new age, watered down spirituality. The third eye. Now that we're looking at these movies with our third eye, we can link some truth to this, because there's no such thing as science fiction. It's all science facts. Okay, everything that I don't care how outer space, how outrageous. I don't care what they showed you on any of these movies. It's all facts, whether it be in this world or another world, in this dimension or another dimension. Now, Tomorrow War. Understand that these white boys, they had the technology to look into the future of this timeline. And they also have the capability to look into the future of alternate timelines. And they can, long story short, without getting too deep, they can look into the timelines in various alternate realities based upon different events. Long story short. Okay, for example, in I think it was the Infinity War, Doctor Strange told the Avengers that he was able to look into 18 million possible alternate futures. Okay, and in one of the alternate futures, they defeated Thanos. Long story short, so we come back down to this reality, this type of technology that they have access to them. So what they've been doing is looking to the future, seeing different things, okay, and then coming back here and making movies about it, okay. And now, according to my understanding, okay, what you've seen in Tomorrow War, okay, that's expected to go down after 2030. Okay, now to get a little galactic, from my basic understanding, okay, the planet is going to get harvested, and you have an Alpha Draco reptilian fleet incoming. Go watch V, that's a good one. But you have a Draco reptilian fleet incoming, and when you get a chance, go on YouTube, type in. It's a white boy. His name is Alex Collier. So Alex Alex Collier. Okay, go on YouTube and check him out. Okay, for all you guys out there who need European Caucasoid confirmations on facts, go check him out. Okay, and listen, it's always good to get as many sources as possible, no matter what the race. To be honest, that's how you're supposed to come to your. That's how you're supposed to gather your truth. So go check him out. He drops on how the Draco reptilians are on Mars, raising hell, so called. Okay, because now that gets deep too, because we got to understand that there are Earth human colonies on Mars and the Moon. Okay, so long story short, Alex Collier, he drops on how the Draco reptilians have destroyed the Martian colonies. Okay, for whatever reason. Okay, for whatever reason, now they're on the way here. Okay, and there's treaties. There's interplanetary treaties that just prevent them from just pulling up whenever they want. Okay, this planet ultimately, the entire universe, the planets, they all belong to our ancestors, our natural cosmic ancestors. Long story short, ultimately, so in law of correspondence, as it is above, so it is below. As it is below, so it is above. You have laws. You have local laws, and you have national laws. You have planetary law. You have galactic law. Long story short, okay. So one of those laws prevent a hostile Starfleet from coming down here in mass, just like they show you in Independence Day. Okay. However, it's called the Treaty of Orion. Go check that out. You can go on again. You can Google that. It's called the Treaty of Orion, and you got a few sources that we can get yourself familiar with that. That is expiring in 2030. Okay. Why is it being allowed to expire? I'm not sure yet, to be honest. But it's expiring 2030. Okay. So by 2033, from my understanding, there's supposed to be a hostile Starfleet, Draco reptilian Starfleet pulling up. Okay. And then, they're going to harvest the planet in mass. And they show you that. And they basically show you what happened. They basically show you exactly what happens in Tomorrow War. Okay. And if you haven't seen it yet, real quick, okay, in that movie, mankind has basically they all been eaten. And they tell you that. So they've all been wiped out. So they're waging a war of they're waging a resistance from extinction. Okay. And because listen, so in a movie, they're like these animalistic excuse me. They're like these animalistic reptilian aliens. So they have animal strength, they're intelligent, they have mass numbers. So come on, they wipe mankind out. So what mankind has to do, they have to come up with technology to create a timeline in which mankind survives. Because on that timeline, they're finished. Okay, that's it. Okay. So what they do in order to delay that process, so that they can research the technology needed to create a new timeline, it's interesting. You gotta watch that. They they go back into time, make a public appearance to the past, mankind in the past, and they let the government know what's going to. They tell the world governments, listen, in 10 years from now, we're about to get wiped out. Okay, we need to do a draft. So they start drafting the civilians. Listen, to go fight a war. Yo, this movie's wild. I'm gonna watch it again probably this weekend. These motherfuckers issue a draft, drafting civilians to go fight go into the future to fight some nightmarish aliens. So what happens is these folks is like, man, they start revolting because they don't want to fucking cross no Stargate and then time travel to 10 years in the future, and then having to fight a monstrous enemy. Okay? Yeah. The enemy was so monstrous that the military didn't want to show them a picture of them.
Yeah, they said it in the report. No, not to cut you off. They said it. No, go ahead.
It's all good. We building. Go ahead.
Yeah, they said it in their the reporting to their stations and things of that nature when they got drafted. They told them straight up. The census said if we were to show you what you're up against, nobody would win. Nobody. I was like,
Right.
yo, that's deep. I said, that's so deep.
Right. They said no. Yes, they said if we were to show you what you're fighting against, nobody will go. You guys will all revolt because people were going. Remember, people were going. Okay. Because it was a draft. So if you refuse a draft, you get arrested. So most people will say, you know what, fuck it, let me just whatever, I'll go. But they were saying that if we were to show you who you're fighting against, you wouldn't even do it. You would rather fight the military than fight them. So that's how monstrous, and they were. If you looked at them, if you see the movie, and you see those beings.
Yeah, I got it on the screen too. I got the picture of the creature on the screen.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Oh God, look at that mother. Okay, look at him. You're not gonna cross no Stargate and fight that being. Number one, they're bulletproof. It takes, what I'm saying? They're fast, like lions.
Yeah, them things was crazy.
Okay, right. And the movie. Listen, let me tell you something. The movie was being very Hollywood because that white boy Chris Pratt would have been got killed, but that whole unit. They would have been got wiped out, but it's a movie, so they had to they had to make it a hero. But let's say we were to translate to that movie. Let's say that movie was something that's going on right now. They would get wiped out, no questions asked. Chris Pratt, soon they came down through that building, would have got wiped out. The whole team got wiped out.
The whole team.
They got wiped out. Okay, you got to understand. Now listen, understand reptilians. Okay, now we're gonna get galactic. We're gonna get galactic again. Stop, girl. We're gonna get galactic again. Reptilians are basically when they first started out, they're animals. Not, and when I say animals, not in a bad way. They're animalistic. Okay, so what do we know about animals? They're very, very extremely strong compared to humans. They have superhuman strength. Okay, now understand that when you look at things from a galactic standpoint, these beings have been evolving over millions and billions of years. So now they've evolved to a point where they not only do they have the animal strength, they have that so-called human level of intelligence. We call it solar intelligence because solar intelligence is what's moving human intelligence. But for relatively, so that we keep things simple, these reptilians now they have human. Matter of fact, they've surpassed human level of intelligence. So now they have a superhuman level of intelligence and superhuman level of strength. With that being said, there would be no war. The movie should have been called the Tomorrow Extermination.
Yeah,
there would have been no. There would have been no war. Period. Mankind is not equipped to deal with anybody outside of this planet. Okay, that's why black people. Go ahead.
And then the crazy part was like how for them to have that type of technology. My only question was how the fuck did they build that machine? That's the part that tripped me out the most. It's like they didn't talk about it at all. They told you and explained, the process of going back and forth and how the time system in a sense is like, a lot of the shows so far when it comes to dealing with certain brands, they've been really big on the concept of time.
Right.
When they came to that particular movie, they told you straight up, it's like the future is going to happen no matter what.
Right.
It's just the time frame. We're telling you when we're going to be extinct. It's like I forgot what the year was. It was like 20 something, and then by 2030, was it 2030?
2030.
2030 is when the mugs came out and started doing their thing.
Right.
And then like there was so many biblical references in this movie. It was unreal. It was just like, wow, y'all really are using Revelations as a narrative. Like,
I missed that.
Like the whole when they would start talking about certain parts, like the scene once they what was it? What scene was it? Oh yeah, when he made it to the future. So before I even go there, did you notice the way that they travel? Right, they went to that whole concept of as above, so below. When they was getting ready to get zapped up, the way that they got zapped up was basically they got levitated into something. Right. And then transported going down into something. So it's like the way that the way that they teleported into that Stargate was very interesting to me. It really was. All for the simple fact of how they disassembled your body and brought you back. And then that whole scene was that was messed up. I ain't gonna lie. I was talking mad shit through the whole movie. Like, yo, that's fucked up. The way that they came in is that wave. Ooh, I would hate life coming through that. I ain't even gonna lie. I would hate life.
Fuck up. Okay, a fuck up.
Big time. And then
Big
their
time.
whole mission and everything else that came from it was pretty dope. But the way that the one concept I've seen that they were saying is the one brother was still on the whole notion of what you call, never leave a man behind, because he was, how you say, ex-military. But in that situation, I'm like, yo, no, please don't. Please don't go back for anybody. It's every man for their fucking self and that shit. Like, I'll help you out, but if you are left behind, or how you say, stranded, I'm not coming to get you. Not dealing with that shit. Like, if you see their arsenal, like, they're vicious, they eat you,
Oh God.
and they got their own fucking artillery on. Like, they're like built weapons.
Right.
They're built. Their whole structure is a weapon. It's like they're tank
Right.
slash fucking snipers and all kinds of shit. And then the way that they
Boy.
were calling each other, it's just like, yeah,
Boy, them motherfuckers, boy, those beings, um, man, there's nothing you could do. There's nothing that, not with this technology on this planet, there's nothing you could do about those type of beings. Now, and that's why, these so-called the so-called European Caucasoid, their rulers, they don't want no smoke. That's why,
true.
excuse me. That's why they are minions of the reptilians. They work for them. What else you gonna do? Okay, there's nothing else you can do. And that's one thing that so-called black, so-called Nagaru, so-called black people, that we need to understand. Well, we don't all fully understand yet, because we're all still going through the schools. But so-called these white folks, they're not doing this on their own. They're under orders. Okay, they're not being mean and evil and racist for no reason. They're under orders, and they're trying to survive. Otherwise, they're gonna get eaten.
Yes. Yes. That's all you see. And then, all right, so I'm gonna go, let's say, in the beginning of it, right? The only one thing I did notice, the message that I got out of it, looking through it, was the symbolism of how I've always been predicating myself on, and that is to build for the generations. Because when you go into that, when they go into that movie, you see the generations coming back through time. There is no such thing as an adult in their time. That part, that's the part that like really, stuck with me for real. I'm just like, dang, what if my generation, these future generations that I'm fighting for, actually came back through time and told me straight up, like, yo, we need y'all help, because I don't know what happened, but y'all ain't do the job right, so we need y'all to do it. That's basically what I seen. And then the type of way that they draft people, it was almost to the level of, like, the whole scene to me, as it was more on the lines of dealing with the whole situation that we're dealing with now with the whole pandemic shit. The way that they was putting the sensors on, the way they was testing people, and then the way they test people, they did the whole astrology in a sense to find out when this person's going to die. I said, yeah, like that's how you got drafted. Like they go through your chart, find out when you're going to die, and that's how you get drafted. If you're in a time frame of within the 10 years, I think it was the 10 years of it, if you die within those 10 years, you were the first people to get drafted.
Dude, that movie was deep. I gotta watch that again, because they was dropping some shit. I gotta watch that again on how they was doing that. Because you're right, the first wave were people who had died before the alien invasion, from my understanding. So you're right, and I know you do. I know you do natal chart readings. So I know you're like, God damn.
Yeah.
That's the military was doing.
Yes,
that's what they were doing.
That's what they was doing. I said, holy shit! Like, no, they didn't. So they really, and then the way that they track, they give you a 7-day system type thing. And then, like, when I was talking about referring to the whole biblical part of it, is how they incorporate a lot of revelations in it when it comes to dealing with the beast, dealing with the seven seals and the 7 trumpets and things of that nature. Like, all that was in there. All that, when they talking about they will be released from 1,000 years and stuff like that, released on Earth in 1,000 years and top. And it was deep. It was deep. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, wow, they really just brought that to the people. And then when it comes to the rest of when you start going into it and how, it was like how I seen it personally. It was like the man started off, he was, everyday Joe. He was going through his life or whatnot. All of a sudden, he got some very bad news. So he went through a traumatic experience, right? That traumatic experience is what brought about the imagination of what was going on when it comes to, him going to the future, coming back, finding out a way to create a quote unquote what the hell did they call it? They didn't call it a vaccine. They called it something else.
It was a virus.
Yeah, that was creating. Yeah, they came back to create a virus to kill them because they had one for the male species, but they couldn't figure out why the female couldn't. And then it goes back to our own story dealing with the atrocities that we went through and how they took our Hamets or women, studied them to find certain things to use against us as well. I was like, oh, that's so fucked up. I was like, they really showed this. They showed this to the people like this. Woo! This is not good. This is not good. But at the same time, it shows you how they did it, and then how those creatures were, like, in a sense, they were the virus in a sense. You know what I mean? But they were more in the lines of how I think what Final Fantasy VII, where they were protectors of the earth. But in this particular thing, those beings were already here.
Exactly. Right. That gets to a whole nother thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans.
Mm-hmm.
That gets to a whole That gets to a whole nother. That's why I gotta watch the movie again, to be honest. Because they were saying
I watched it again yesterday. Yeah, I did watch it again yesterday. Yeah, I watched it last week and then again yesterday. This is to find out what I was missing in the first part. Because the last thing I was just stuck on was the whole biblical stuff. Because that's exactly what I seen through the whole movie. Like, it's during the whole Christmas era, right? Dealing with the birth of Christ in a sense, and then you go through this whole thing where it's like, all right, you got a futuristic, our great grandchildren or grandchildren in a sense are coming back to let us know that, hey, we're in a fight, we're losing. From there, we're going to basically find a way to bring y'all over there to help us do what we do. And the crazy part about it is when it comes to their whole Revelations part, right? When they was doing the draft and they was showing the percentage of people who return every 7 days, it was like showing the extinction, like how it is with this whole pandemic we got now. They were wiping out the elders. They were forcing people to get wiped out to go fight a war that they have no clue about. You feel me? That's the part I was like, that's deep. That's fucked up that y'all do that. Y'all literally sending people to the future to get wiped out. So you're causing the extermination early as well.
Right.
And then it's like, and then when there was what happened? Yeah, when him and the brother, when the protagonist and the one brother, the comedic relief, the way that they were talking about things, they were basically explaining like, these kids have never been born yet. You know what I mean? Like, these are the children that have not been born. These are our children's children that are coming here.
And you know the sad part?
Mm-hmm.
The sad part is, guess what? That timeline never happened. So basically, one Earth had to suffer for another Earth. Because remember, that timeline never happened. So that means that they depleted their population for an event that never occurs. Once they destroyed those aliens, that means that cancels out that timeline. So now you short a couple million people. You know what I'm saying? Because of an event that's not going to happen no more.
Correct. And that's the part I was just like, oh, that's deep. Like, you're here to save humanity big time when you come back, because now that you are figuring certain things out and you know that half of the, like, not even half of the population, but I think it was like 500,000 of the population was already wiped out within the time frame of that countdown, of their 10-year countdown.
Right.
I said, yo, that's an ingenious plan to take people out. They came back to make sure that we get wiped out.
That's an interesting way to look at it. That's interesting. And so that movie, so Tomorrow War, that I I don't know if there's another free movie on YouTube. It's called. I invite everybody to check it out. It's only 20 minutes. It's a 20-minute free movie, and it's a very good quality. It's one of those mini movies that had really good funding based upon the production of it. It's called Raka, and when you get a chance, pull it up on the screen so everybody can see. It's called Rakka. Okay, it's called Raka, and basically,
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Lulu. Hi, babies. Peace, y'all.
Peace. All right, hold on. All right, I got it pulled up. It's called Raka.
But for real, right quick for y'all do that. So in the Tomorrow War, when they were handling the draft and they were talking about the numbers, and I don't have much time on here on this road probably, so if I cut out, I need MENTAAT to elaborate for me if you would. But my thinking was, do y'all know, so they talked about the percentage of people that didn't make the draft. In my mind, most of them people was the overweight people, the out of shape people, because they wouldn't have never made it.
Oh yeah, right.
Them people. If that draft happened real time today, can you imagine what that looked like?
Right.
Oh, they taking all of us.
People be rushing to the McDonald's to hurry up and get fat so they would be disqualified.
That's interesting.
Snap.
And I want to talk about how all the men protected her.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh God. Oh God.
You
talking about the aliens? You talking about the aliens?
The aliens in the Tomorrow War. And how every time that whenever she was attacked, and even when they had her captive, them males came for her.
And they pulled up in thousand numbers for their goddess.
And the motherfuckers was flying. That's the part that cracked me up the most. I was like, yo, they can fly.
So that's why.
When that one started flying, I was like, it's a wrap.
Yeah, I was like, yo, I do not want to be there. Go ahead. My bad.
Oh, and let's talk about how they used the female's makeup to create the serum to kill them all.
Yeah, I was speaking on that. Yeah, I was speaking on a little bit on it. I just didn't go in detail on it. But yeah, we definitely that part. Yeah, that part. Yeah, then when they was coming up, that's when they captured the female. And just like any other time, it's like a game of chess. And then if you notice their hive, right, the way that their hive was set up, the design of it was very intriguing to me for real, because it was like in a section of domes or like a motherboard of how they dug holes through the ground to travel, things of that nature. And then the way that they was dealing with those to me was the part where I was talking about the seals, those them seals that's in Revelations. That's what I seen when it came to that.
Listen, back to Joy's point. That's why when I was watching that movie, I actually had respect. You listen, when I'm watching a movie, I'm always going for the villain, anyways. But I had a little respect for those beings because of how they were basically operating for their queen. Those white folks they sealed their fate capturing the queen, because the queen was emitting a hyper frequency signal. So any of the male drones within thousands of miles could hear it. Okay, so they wiped themselves out by bringing that queen to their headquarters. Because at first they had no idea what those beings did not know where the headquarters were, because the headquarters was offshore. So they were they were safe.
You notice the locations?
Drop it.
They were all right there in the Caribbean.
Okay. Oh, right. Right. Atlantis.
They were right there in the Caribbean. Everything that they were operating from, where their transmitter was coming from, and then the way that transmitter was sounding, it was like, yo, that's a perturbation of some sort of energy. I just don't know what it was, but it was like more so the heartbeat of the time flow. That's what I got from that machine that they used to jump people.
Atlantis, and then you got, because that's Atlantis. So you got those crystals underwater and all that. That's interesting.
That was all out there in the Caribbean.
There's another movie, real quick. I don't want to change the focus of the movies, but there's another movie. It's called Reminiscent. It's set in Miami too, in that Caribbean area. So a lot of these newer movies, that are set. A lot of these newer science fiction movies are being set in those Caribbean, Floridian areas.
Hold on, what movie was that one?
It was called Reminiscent.
Reminiscent. Was that the one? That's the one with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I seen that too. Shit. That one, oh god, that one was deep. I ain't gonna lie.
That was sad. That one was kind of sad. You know what I'm saying? People are so, in my opinion, and again, I don't mean to diverge, but real quick, in my opinion, the other sad movie. People's lives are so horrible that they just rather spend time in their memories. Oh God.
And then you got remember the world itself is playing words on that old school movie called Waterworld. That was the part that kind of like threw me off, and I'm just like, hold on. So y'all really are taking, like, there's a lot of movies that's been dealing with a lot of floods that I've noticed.
Exactly.
It's like, all right, so y'all are picturing the future with us being in floods, having these doctors or researchers do these type of what you would call them sessions, having these sessions messing with your memory, and then doing it like how Inception was in that movie Inception.
You know what? So listen, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna tie Reminiscent into what we're talking about. Cause listen, these folks in Reminiscent basically had no future, and they knew it. So they're spending time. They're spending time in the past. So that goes into, like, these Adamites, these white folks. Again, the ones that know, they know that ultimately they don't have a future. They don't. They know it's coming down using this technology. Okay, and they bring these movies out. They bring Tomorrow War out, and then to bring it back to Raqqa, it's another show y'all need to check out. If you like Tomorrow War, you gotta go watch Raqqa. Okay, it's basically the same thing. Extremely advanced reptilians come down to the planet and they wipe out mankind. Point blank, period.
Oh shit.
Point blank, period. Okay, so Raqqa is actually a more, from my understanding, and I'm still learning, I'm a master student, but from my understanding, Raqqa is actually more of a more accurate portrayal than Tomorrow War. Because Tomorrow War, those beings, they were more on the vicious animalistic side. In Raqqa, the so-called hostile aliens, they're more of a humanoid reptilian. They're more of a sentient, intelligent, sentient, though violent beings. So that's more of a realistic account of what's about to. That's a great picture. That's a great portrayal of what these galactic reptilian beings look like, because they look like dinosaurs, except they have humanoid. The reptilians are basically Homo saurus. They're just humanoid dinosaurs that have evolved to a advanced state, intergalactic state.
They're like a whole race of the nature Sobek. That's what it look like.
They get deep. Right. These are natural beings, they're natural to the universe. Okay. Now they get demonized because they eat people. Okay. And long story short, Adamites, they prefer the pale recessive races of the universe, long story short, because they're lower vibrational. And then they season themselves with beef and meat and alcohol and other things of that nature. So the reptilians prefer to eat those type of beings. So that's why they get demonized the most in movies, because they get eaten by them.
Yeah, I didn't even see this. I'm gonna watch this tonight. I didn't even know that's what it was about. Because anytime I seen this, the name, all you seen was the actress Sigourney Weaver, and I'm just like, huh? And
right.
Usually, any movie she's in, it's definitely something dealing with sci-fi, something dealing with aliens. So far in her career, has been dealing with aliens, hands down.
Well, listen. These are not actors. They are government employees. They're just trying to tell you a story. The government hired all these. Look, listen, Hollywood is a tool used by the government to get out some truths. Point blank. Period. So those are actors. But yeah, check out Raka. That's a great one. That's the best. I love Tomorrow World because of how deep it was, but Raka is more of an accurate portrayal of these so-called beings that are incoming to the planet, and what they're doing. The terraform. See, and Raka gets to the whole terraforming because these beings are trying to reclaim. Ultimately, with the reptilians, what they want to reclaim the planet because this planet was theirs. Okay, so-called Nubians, so-called black people. Yes, we have yes, we're native to the planet, but originally we're not from down here. We came down here, and we the avatar body was grown to be conducive with the planet's environment. But the true natives of the planet are reptilians because this is a water world. Long story short, so this is ultimately their planet. So a lot of these movies, when these aliens are coming, they're actually coming to reclaim the planet, and it happens to be ruled by these Adamite Caucasoids. So the aliens got to go to war with these beings and wipe them out. Long story short.
Yeah, I'm gonna check this out. See what this is about.
Yeah, it's only 20 minutes. You can knock it out. It's a quick one.
Okay.
And honestly, you could just watch the first 5 minutes and get through the intro, and they'll show you that they go through an intro and what happens. Another great movie that it's a sleeper, but it's Captive State, starring a nigga. Finally, can we get a science fiction movie, a post-apocalyptic alien invasion movie starring a brother? Finally, thank you, movie guys. Captive State that's a sleeper because a lot of people, it wasn't really promoted that heavily, so I know a lot of people missed that. Captive State was a good one that shows you what's going on now in this world in terms of having extraterrestrial authorities who are governing the planet deep from their underground bases. So there's a white boy, I can't remember his name, but he was a whistleblower, and he made a couple of lectures about how the government and the military, they have what's called DUMBs, or deep underground military bases, and in these bases, they're working with extraterrestrials. If you go on YouTube, if you go on Google and you type in Dulce, New Mexico, that's the most popular DUMB that most of the conscious people are aware of. And the Dulce base, the government is working with extraterrestrials in these deep underground bases, and they're doing different experiments. And a lot of extraterrestrials. Listen, the planet is not being ruled by no white men. It's ruled by extraterrestrial powers who are underground and deep in underground bases that are running all this. And so in the movie Captain State goes in on that. That's why I don't think it was promoted that heavily, because they don't ultimately they don't want people kind of catching on, because Earthlings are not that stupid. Okay, they're gonna eventually start catching on once you start releasing a lot of this stuff. So I definitely invite a lot of people when you get a chance. It was a good movie. Okay, starring a brother too. Stop playing and go support your people. Okay, starring a good brother. I can't think of his name. He's a good actor. But that's going to get into what you call the DUMBs.
Yeah, I'm sitting there looking up. I put it on the screen.
Yeah, there you go. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, that's look, another alien invasion movie. Okay, so that asks the question, why is Hollywood releasing all these alien invasion movies? Okay, we don't believe in coincidence. Okay, so that's another one that's another alien invasion movie that's released. Also, this year they've been releasing and I was meaning to tell Joy this, but they've been releasing many asteroid impact movies. Okay, earlier this year they came out with Greenland. Okay, you gotta go check that out.
Okay. Okay.
Greenland. Now they're coming out with what's that coming out? Don't Look Up, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. That's another one that they're coming out with. Okay. Later on this year, they're coming out with Moonfall, starring Halle Berry. Okay. So they're dropping 3 asteroid impact movies in 1 year. Okay. Now a lot of times in the morning I wake up early and go to morning to go to work. A lot of times when I'm looking up, there's a bright object, and you can see it at if you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you'll be able to see it. There's a bright object shining bright. I'm not sure if that's a planet. That's why I need a telescope. But all I know is they've been dropping these asteroid impact movies. So for those of you who are who are interested in things that are going to happen soon, because this whole Tomorrow War, alien invasion, all that type of stuff, from my understanding, that's not going to go down until after 2030. So you still got about 10 years. That's why that movie was on point, because in this world we say the same thing. We got about 10 years before something like that happens. Now, here's what gets a little deeper and a little spooky. You have a lot of people in the Kemetic orders saying that the asteroid NASA is tracking the asteroid in 2023. NASA saying it's not going to impact, right? And when the last time NASA tell the truth about anything? Okay, a lot of people in the Kemetic orders are saying that thing is going to impact on 2023. Okay, and then in this year, 2021, 2 + 1 = 3, right? In this year, they got 3 asteroid impact movies. Okay, so we got to be checking this stuff out. Greenland, number 1 for the listeners. Greenland, starring Gerard Butler. Okay, number 2, Leonardo DiCaprio in Don't Look Up. Okay, number 3, your girl Halle Berry coming back on your ass in that movie Moonfall. That's one by Roland Emmerich. You know, Roland Emmerich all does those big disaster movies. Okay, so Moonfall is his latest, so you know it's going to be a big one, starring your girl Halle Berry. And from the trailer, when I was looking at it, looked like the moon is, I don't know what the fuck going on. It looked like the moon. I think that gets to the whole Nibiru thing, but the moon gets close to the planet, and it just causes apocalyptic havoc, because the moon has it's a it's a moving object, so it creates gravitational problems once it gets closer. And if anybody's familiar with the Nibiru story, that's what happened approximately 20 billion years ago when Nibiru entered into the solar system. The motherfucker, it crashed into Maldek, which was a planet, and it destroyed that motherfucker. So the asteroid belt is that's a planet. That's the breadcrumbs of a planet. That's what that is. Our asteroid belt. And so a lot of those incoming asteroids are just pieces of another planet. Without getting too galactic, it's just pieces of a planet just incoming. Long story short.
Right, I have a question, if you
Yes.
could.
Yeah.
That's John Goodman in Captive State, right?
Yes.
Okay. At the end of the movie, he went, I think, down in the elevator type, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, because I was multitasking during that movie, so I was watching and listening at times. Tell me where he was going. What was that I missed about the movie? Why was he in that elevator, and where was he going, and why?
He ended up being a double agent, so he was actually working for the Resistance. So what happened was he was going down into that alien base with a bomb and destroy them, because he ended up being because he was working for the government, so that means he was working for them. But he actually ended up being an agent working for the Resistance. So at the end of the movie, he went down there to with a explosive device to destroy the Chicago HQ of those extraterrestrials.
Okay, gratitude.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I didn't even see that one. So yeah, definitely going to see what that's about.
Yeah, Captain State. Yeah, support your brother. Check him out. Good acting. Good brother.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so before we dip out, what other points did you want to point out when it comes to dealing with both movies? Well, all three for real, for real.
Um. So listen, Waka tomorrow. Listen, a lot of these movies, um, they're like unofficial sequels and all related. All these movies, if you understand the Akashic record,
Mm-hmm.
every single movie is a page of the Akashic record. Okay, movie. This is why I'm big on movies. The movies are the closest thing you're going to get to the Akashic record. Understand that Akashic record is a universal holographic ethereal library. So it's a visual library. You can, once you access the Akasha, you'll be able to literally witness any event you want to witness. Okay. So when you're dealing with movies, that's what a movie is. No matter what it's dealing with, it could be a movie about crime, drug dealing, whatever. A movie about extraterrestrials. It's all part of the Akasha. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
I encourage people to stay on. So what happens is a lot of people, once they get into consciousness, they're like, you know what? I'm not gonna watch movies. I'm not gonna get programmed. Okay, now we gotta get out. We gotta get out of that. Okay, we gotta start coming back to the movies because now that we have an understanding, they're actually dropping some truths. Okay, because when things start pulling up, you're not gonna be surprised. Just like with COVID, um, they had a movie with Lawrence Fishburne. I think it's called Quarantine.
Yeah.
Okay, that movie is basically what's going on right now.
Quarantine, Contagion. What was that other one? Was it Outbreak?
Yeah, Outbreak.
Yeah, those was like what? Those was like what? 90s, early 2000s type movies right there.
Yep.
Yeah, it was talking about this stuff way back then, and it's just like as you start to as the years keep going on, you start looking at the picture, you start seeing it repeat itself a little bit more in a lot of these updated movies that's been coming out when it comes to dealing with anything in these categories of time and time dealing with time travel, evasion, um, biological weapons, and different ways of forms of what they would call martial law. A lot of the movies have been like that lately,
And you know what?
in all different forms, in different ways of telling the story, I should say.
And they've never given the public a movie showing a great future.
Nope. They always cut it off the point of what could be a good future, but most of the time it's been, we're going to make sure that you understand your future. This is what's going to happen to you. This is what you might can do to change it. But ultimately, we're making sure all of y'all are gone.
Right. So that's another pattern that when you're checking the stuff out, why is it that we get, if we're talking about this whole fifth dimensional shift, why don't we get fifth dimensional higher earth movies? We usually get the post apocalyptic. I can't, I'm having a hard time right now thinking about a movie that showed a future planet Earth in good shape.
Mm, oh shoot, you right, yeah.
It's hard, right? You can't think. You gotta think. You gotta think. But if I told you, give me a movie showing Earth getting fucked up, easy. Knowing.
Yeah, knowing. Yeah, definitely that one, especially that one.
Oh God.
Yeah, knowing. You got oh, what is that movie called? Um, uh, 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 uh oh, I just watched it not too long ago. What was it? It was called Hold on, I'm gonna look it up real quick.
All right, cool. No Armageddon, Deep
Mm-hmm.
Impact.
Mm-hmm.
They got a
Event
movie on.
Horizon. What's that movie called? Dang, Life Form. Was it Life or Life Form? Something like that. I can't remember what that movie was called. But that was the one where they found that bacteria and they grew it and it became a being and then that being basically, kind of took over the ship a little bit. It was like, entering itself through people. Cloverfield, yep, that's another one.
Cloverfield, yep.
What the heck is? Was it Life? Because they try to put the whole Marvel universe in that movie. I want to say it's called Life or something like that. Can't think of it. Not Life like Eddie Murphy Life, but I want to say it was like Life Form or something like that.
I think I've seen that too. Once you find the name, once you put it up on the screen, I think I've seen that before.
Total Recall. What is that? What's that other Blade Runner?
Right, Bleak Futures.
Bleak Futures.
Terminator, Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Matrix 4 coming out in October.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, at the end of the month, actually.
Is it end of this month for real?
Yeah, let me. I think Well, I'm sorry. December 24th, not the end of the month.
Okay, I'm about to be like, oh, I'm missing out for real.
No,
yeah, I'm about to check later today. I'm gonna check out Venom and probably something else later on today. See what they're doing with that. And that totality of things. Mad Max, yep. Beyond the Thunderdome, that was even better. What else was there? Independence Day was just dealing with our time. Both of them. Insurgent. Visitors was like, yeah, that's more current today stuff right there. That mini series called Visitors.
I gotta watch that.
Yeah, it's a 1984 version. Yeah, that movie. It's like a movie / TV series / short film type thing, and it was basically talking about the beings that came from a different world. Find out they're reptilian. They're basically taking over, switching out people's bodies and things of that nature. Invasion of the body statures, all that type of stuff. Like it was definitely deep on that, and then on top of that, it was on the same level of dealing with COVID back then too, of how they was dealing with stuff. And then when I finally watched the Jupiter Ascending, and that whole movie was all based off of a lot of astrology. I'm so mad I didn't watch this movie, but a lot of that movie was on astrology from the characters, right? Let's say, for instance, the young lady, right? The young lady, she has the Jupiter rising, right? Jupiter rising sign. So she was told to be great things. Understand about the type of material of harvesting planets and things of that nature, and then dealing with their business. So lo and behold, each one of those planetary planets or families were dealing with a certain zodiac. So for instance, hers was dealing with obviously Sagittarius, right? When it comes to the Channing Tatum's character, he was what is called he was Gemini or Cyrus in a sense.
Right, Gemini. Right.
Like he was like I was just looking and looking and looking like, oh snap, like they're really like the whole races of things and people and the type of families. It was all on that part. Like Jupiter itself, an astrology is dealing with expansion in what? Expansion in a certain type of businesses. The way that they had their business was basically harvesting planets, bringing abundance to what it is. And as I was saying, astrology, Jupiter is a planet that expands things in your life as well as what you expand in others. So that's how I seen that. And then the whole breakdown of the whole movie of how they was dealing with the queens and things of that nature. Like everybody was a sign. Everybody in that movie was a particular sign. You just had to figure out what it was.
I missed that. I gotta watch that again.
So, like for instance, she was how you say the Sagittarian, and their opposite is what? Gemini, right? I think it's Gemini, ain't it? Sagittarius opposite is Gemini. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you see Channing Tatum's character was that Gemini character. He was the Cyrus star because he was a Lycan in a sense.
Right.
Yeah, it was going in. I was like, damn, I missed out on that one. But yeah, I just want to bring that up real quick because I was like, yeah, that was a deep movie. I ain't gonna lie, that was a very deep movie.
Yeah, that was a good one. We talked about that on the previous show. That was a good one because of how that white girl, she was a janitor But then she realized she came into the awareness that she was the reincarnation of a galactic queen,
Yes.
and that's very relevant on what's going on with so-called black people, because they don't understand that that's the level of inheritance they're gonna come into. We kind of still stuck on, a lot of us still stuck on Pan-Africanism, which is okay. That's cool. So we thinking our ancestors are kings and queens of like different various lands on this planet, but we got to keep
Mm-mm.
thinking bigger.
Yes.
Our ancestors are star lords. They don't just rule. They don't just rule little continents. They rule. We're essentially running a galactic empire, using resources of gold, other minerals that can be found on different planets. Long
Yeah,
story short,
Iranium and all that good stuff. Yep.
all
Keep
that
going.
crystals. We're big on crystals, because crystals, we're big on that. So if any planet that's producing crystals, that's big. That's galactic business booming. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to understand one thing, and that's gonna slowly start to come out too as more truths are revealed. Is that galactic royalty, and that's why I tell people go watch another a good movie. I mean, a good show to check out that kind of will give you that level of awareness is Stargate Sg-1, the series.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you see those Egyptian-looking black melanated humanoids coming off those starcrafts, the whole aesthetics, that's very comedic, because they try to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
The so-called everybody want to be Egyptian. Everybody want to be Egyptian. You know what I'm saying? But you need to understand that these so-called Egyptians, they're not bounded to so-called Kemet, so-called Egypt, so-called Africa. All right, these are the Egyptian culture is galactic. That's why they got pyramids on the moon, pyramids on Mars. They tell you they'll tell you they found pyramids on Mars.
Mm-hmm. This is Mars, Mercury, Venus, Pluto.
Okay,
Um,
so the whole Ra, Osiris,
mm-hmm.
Nuku, whatever Egyptian culture that everybody is so in love with. Okay, it's interplanetary.
Mm-hmm. Eventually people are going to start seeing it a lot more, especially if they start paying attention to a lot of things outside of outside of the norm, like big time, especially in the next couple months. Like a lot of different weird events are coming our way. and it's just mighty funny. They release both um what is it? The whole no, does Spider Man come out this year? I don't know. Yeah, Spider Man does come out this year. When that's dealing with another factor of time. Then you have the Matrix 4 coming out, and then it just so happens that you're going to reissue on do a reissuing of a movie that's going to basically bring a lot of clarity of when people feel that whole deja vu thing still happening to them,
Mm-mm.
and that force of understanding that the planet, well, not even necessarily planet, but the time of this world is what's helping or inducing you to go back to sleep.
Mm.
Because once you get off that frequency, that's what happens. Like a lot of you think the troubles is coming your way, it's you trying to get your calibration back or your vibration right back up. And then with them putting these towers everywhere, and then the type of frequencies that we are trying to vibe on, it's hard for those who are, I don't want to call them um I don't want to call them low energy, but if you're still doing low energy stuff, you're going to still stick with a lot of that drama.
Mm. The third dimensional ghost world.
Hmm. But yeah, man. But yeah, I appreciate this time with yourself and with the family with the Ramech. It's definitely was some good insight. I definitely didn't know about those other two, so I'm definitely gonna check those out after I get done watching Venom. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna spend the rest of my days watching those two particular ones because that sounds very interesting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a future show about that.
When I'm interested in that rocker. That looks very interesting.
Yeah, you gotta watch. Yeah, it's only 20 minutes. Check that out.
That and captive state. That's what it is. So to the audience that's listening, before we close out, y'all have any questions or anything that we want to speak on before we head out? Before I give Seba Mentek the last closing words. 90s during high school. Yeah, I seen that too. I watched like halfway through it when I was in high school.
Which one?
Stargate Sg-1.
Oh God, yeah. That Watch it. Listen, when you get a chance, to the listening audience and those future listeners who are gonna tune in, yo, just watch like the first few episodes of SG-1. You don't even need to watch the whole thing. Just watch a few episodes of SG-1. That is the only. There's nothing else like that out right now. That's kind of showing us on that level, on a galactic royal level. I'm talking about with the whole Kemetic Nubian aesthetics of what they was wearing. You know what I'm saying? All that gold.
Mm-hmm.
Man, y'all got to check that out because they've been finding Stargates left and right now. So that's going to be the most relevant series, Stargate.
Between that and Battlestar Galactica, those are the main two.
Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, now you're going back.
Mm-hmm. Those are those main two ones. Those are the two. Well, for myself, those are basically the main two I will refer to when it comes to understanding the difference in what they're trying to promote when it comes to either reissuing robotic soldiers to us, and that goes in the line of Terminator and so on and so forth, or they're going to hit us with, allowing us to wait till these things wake up, or these inhabitants of this planet waking up or emerging from the grounds or from certain areas. And if you notice going back to Tomorrow War, you notice the location of where they found those beings.
Was it like Alaska?
It was like it was in between China and Russia.
Got you.
And then you remember that movie, The Great Wall?
Talking about the Chinese Wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they did a legend about the Great Wall when it's dealing with the same type of creatures. Now, mind you, same type of creatures in Tomorrow War, but just different. Just a little different. These ones were like they had a whole army. They had the same type of creatures like them, but they didn't have like the whole arsenal thing going on. But they had these other creatures that did it, and then the way that they communicate was very fucking similar in a lot of ways. And then the main one that communicated to them all was the Queen once again. And the way that they took out the Queen was, in the same. No, it wasn't even the same. It was just more so one got blown up. This one got basically diseased, degraded, DNA degraded.
DNA degraded.
Yeah, for real. Because that's exactly what happened. The funny part in that whole movie in Tomorrow War, to me personally, is when they administered to the Queen and they was like, yeah, she's about to, go out with a bang. She said, fuck this shit. She ripped off her own arm. I said, oh shit. And then she didn't have no eyes. They stabbed her in her eyes and everything. I was just like, yo, this is a bad queen right there. This is a bad queen. They took her eyes out and she was still fucking up shit. And then she was and then I forgot their main thing was that they sensed blood. So I felt bad for a lot of the Hemets. I was really into that war. I was like, damn, I felt bad when it comes to dealing with this menstrual cycle because if you got anybody who's on your team with a menstrual cycle or a cut, you're fucked.
I can think about that.
War, you're fucked. Like, yeah, like that's how deep I was looking at it. I was really into the movie because that whole scene of the children coming from the future to meet us. That's all I could see. The message that the young lady gave, and then the main young lady that was in that movie, as they prompted a melanated sister in charge with the African medallion.
I missed that one too.
I said, oh, and then all I can think of is like in my mind, my little fantasy mind, I was just like, I gotta keep this fight going because y'all not gonna lose. I'm not gonna allow y'all to lose. I'm not gonna allow these generations to lose. But that's how I felt when I was watching the movie. But yeah, so I'm gonna give you the closing words and we'll close out.
So listen, I'm gonna keep it short. I really encourage people to go ahead, start watching this stuff. They're gonna be, listen, we're in the Age of Revelation, Age of Aquarius, what they're calling it, Age of Phoenix, Age of Bata, Age of Ra. It's the sun cycle. So they're gonna be dropping it. Stay on top of your movies. You ain't got nothing else to do. You're not going out, okay? A lot of these places are requiring vaccine mandates anyways. So that means you gotta stay home. So you don't got nothing else better to do but start checking the stuff out. If you want to stay woke, you don't gotta read no books, to be honest. You want just watch some movies. And so with that being said, I say to you all, Shukwu Nuwa, Netru, Goddess and Gods, divine love and divine light.
Shukwu Noir. And peace and love to everyone else. I appreciate everyone and their patience during this broadcast. I'll see you all soon.
All right, see you guys later.
Peace. Panatap my Uncle Jed, Uncle Josh, Shaneb, Uben, if you care, Ponabu, Haru, my IT, to everyone. Thanks everyone for being here. Thanks again, MENTAAT, for being with us on this movie review. Definitely everyone enjoy the rest of your day, and we will get back with you on the next time. Peace.
All right, tap.